Campaign overview. 6 months in, the Blood Crows maintained its proven reputation status and improved on its financials post the previous mission. The unit also acquired a new mech, the Wolverine. Finally, the Blood Crows are able to field a full lance. Technical explanation. Mission win/lose conditions. Player wins if opposing force is prevented from occupying any crossing points by turn 6. Opposing force wins if any crossing points are captured, occupied for 2 consecutive turns. Mission briefing. Operation QUICKSAND. Mission type, delay. Threat level, moderate. Location, Brackenridge Corridor, Perdition Fall. Deployment time 0-200 hours, pre-dawn. Weather, rain, river crossing, and cliffs. Drop tonnage, 400 tons, limit. Intel suggests moderate hostile activity. Mission objectives. Primary, prevent seizure of crossing points Alpha and Bravo. Secondary, destroy command unit. Employer, Taurian Concordat. Hostile unit from the Dawn Reavers aligned with the magistracy of Canopus. Intel suggests Scout Lance. Blood Crows. Deployment, Bay 1, Commander Raven. Griffin, medium mech. Bay 2, Mech Warrior Cold Iron. Hunchback, medium mech. Bay 3, Mech Warrior Hammer. Wasp, light mech. Bay 4, Mech Warrior Bullet. Wolverine, medium mech. Op4 deployment, Dawn Reavers. Bay 1, Op4-1, Veteran, Commander. Dragon, heavy mech. Bay 2, Op4-2, regular. Dervish, medium mech. Bay 3, Op4-3, regular. Clint, medium mech. Bay 4, Op4-4, green. Locust, light mech. The Taurian Concordat contract was deliberately modest. Local militia authority, colonial logistics priority, no house-level visibility. Magistracy of Canopus raiding elements had begun testing the Brackenridge supply artery following recent border tensions. The outpost at the western end of the corridor, Fuel Depot Theta, was completing staged evacuation of strategic reserves. Sensitive material was already lifted. Remaining assets were bulk storage and hardened comm equipment awaiting final transport. The Blood Crows were not hired to win a war. They were hired to buy time. 2 paved transit arteries crossed the river twice before entering the depot perimeter. Everything else was a deep ravine, wish-gushing river, flanked by steep cliffs on both sides. A perfect delay environment. Diana understood the assignment. Short engagement window, minimal broadcast, controlled exposure, and a quiet opportunity to field test the Wolverine under suppression. The Blood Crows deployed in darkness. Rain slicked the forest floor. Smoke from controlled burns drifted between pine trunks. The Brackenridge River flowed north to south, swollen and fast, cutting through the valley and forcing movement across 2 narrow bridge crossings. Natural choke points carved between rock faces and tree line. The Wolverine took position among them. Just another machine in the Taurian-aligned line. On scans it read clean, heat signature balanced, reactor oscillation dull and civilian. Raven kept the deeper handshake routines physically locked behind isolation protocols. She had said they would not light it up again. She meant the part that mattered. "This isn't a stand," Raven said over the command channel. "It's a delay." Hammer confirmed Western overwatch along the ridgeline. Cold Iron marked fallback grids along the second bridge crossing. Bullet monitored southern approach vectors. "Once the evacuation is completed and flare is sighted, we disengage," Raven said. "No heroics. Taurian command wants time, nothing more." The Wolverine stood silent in formation, suppressed and obedient. Somewhere far beyond Taurian space, an automated intelligence query still waited for a response that would not come tonight. Raven dimmed her external feed. For now, they would be ordinary. And that would be the most dangerous thing about them. Turn 1. Initiative. Blood Crows. Perimeter alarms wailed as a Clint sprinted in from the northeast, cutting toward crossing Alpha. The Advance Scouting Lance has commenced its approach. Advance Lance ahead of schedule, Raven said calmly. Cold Iron angled his hunchback toward crossing Bravo. Moments later, the heavier signature of a dervish followed in the Clint's wake. Bullet advanced the newly restored Wolverine towards crossing Alpha, placing it squarely between the approaching Reavers and the bridge. The alarm sensors picked up another ping from the southeastern edge as a heavy mech, the Dragon, entered the battlefield towards crossing Bravo. Raven brought the Griffin online and positioned behind the Wolverine. A Reaver's Locust streaked westwards, flanking the Dragon. Hammer pushed the Wasp forward, taking point in front of the Hunchback. No firing took place this turn. Turn 2. Initiative Blood Crows. The Reavers have split up. Move up to contain them at both crossings. We need to hold them for as long as we can to facilitate the depot's evacuation, Raven ordered. The Dragon pushed aggressively toward Bravo, its AC-5 barking at close range. Cold Iron shifted the Hunchback to meet the Dragon. The Dervish took a more cautious approach, inching forward behind woods cover while readying its missiles-firing solution. Bullet continued to push the Wolverine forward, past the crossing point to face the approaching Reavers on the other front. Seeing the advancing Wolverine, the Clint took up cover position among the woods. Raven jumped the Griffin, perching over the cliffs to take up overwatch position over the crossing. The Locust moved northwards of the Dragon, stopping just before the cliff. Hammer also jumped her Wasp into the cliffs, overlooking crossing Bravo. The surrounding cracked with the firing of the Dragon's AC-5 autocannon at point blank towards the Hunchback, along with its medium laser. The medium laser carved into the Hunchback's left leg. Cold Iron answered with the thunderclap of an AC-20 accompanied by both medium lasers, and missed. The shell tore dirt from the canyon wall. The Clint fired with everything at the Wolverine, but misses. Raven fired the PPC at the Clint, hitting the woods instead. Behind cover, the Dervish fired both medium lasers at the Wolverine, and one managed to connect, hitting the Wolverine on the left arm. Bullet returned fired with an alpha strike at the Dervish. The woods proved effective by absorbing all the hits. The Locust took aim and fired a single medium laser at the Hunchback but misses. Hammer fired the medium laser and SRM at the Dragon during mid-flight, and the shots strayed wide. At the end of turn 2, both the Hunchback and Wolverine took damage. Turn 3, Initiative, Op 4. Cold Iron gambled and occupied the control zone at crossing Bravo, using the mech as a roadblock against the advancing heavy Dragon mech. The Dervish broke cover and dashed southwards into the nearby tree lines. Vector headed towards Bravo. Raven held position on the cliffs to steady her aim. The Dragon stayed as it square off with the Hunchback at the crossing, point-blank range. Hammer jumped the Wasp again, this time landing on the cliff over the Dragon's exposed left flank. The Clint advanced forward towards crossing Alpha, attempting to flank the Wolverine. Bullet inched the Wolverine forward to meet the Clint, while obstructing the Reaver's advance to the crossing. The Locust repositioned itself by occupying the woods nearest to the Wasp. Cold Iron fired the AC-20 and both medium lasers at the Dragon at point blank, hoping to score a decent hit this round. The Dragon's center torso buckled under the AC-20 round impact, and medium lasers chewed into its left arm. Bullet also kicked the Dragon's left leg. The commander managed to steady the Dragon mech from the impacts. The Dragon retaliated, a C5 and medium laser into Hunchback's right leg and center torso, then drove a kick into the Hunchback's left leg. Cold Iron rode the impact and stayed upright. Hammer fired both weapons at the Dragon left flank, SRMs detonating on the left leg and center torso. Missiles from the dervish's LRM-10s rained down on the hunchback's torso and arm. "I'm taking a beating here," Cold Iron growled. "We're tied on both fronts," Raven replied. "Hold." Bullet Alpha strike again, this time at the Clint. The autocannon and medium laser struck the target, damaging the left arm and left torso. The Clint took aim and fired at Raven's Griffin, but misses. Raven unleashed the Griffin's PPC as it drilled into the Clint's left torso, breaching the internals and destroying a medium laser. The Locust fired its lone medium laser at Cold Iron's hunchback, hitting the center torso. At the end of turn 3, the hunchback, Wolverine, Dragon, and Clint took damage. Turn 4, initiative, Blood Crows. The Dervish retreated slightly to avoid direct confrontation with the Wolverine, while maintaining optimum range for its LRM launchers. Raven jumped the Griffin forward, across the river to the next cliffs overlooking the Clint and Dervish. The Clint launched into the air, jump jets blasting over the Wolverine, attempting to seize control of Crossing Alpha. "Get that Clint!" shouted Raven over the comms. "On it!" Bullet replied as he swung the Wolverine around to meet the Clint, while exposing his right flank to the Dervish. Meanwhile, the Dragon, which was badly battered by the AC-20, retreated to protect its weakened left flank by seeking partial cover behind the tree line. Hammer jumped the Wasp and landed onto the Dragon's left, attempting to distract and delay the Reavers from the crossing. The Locust took the bait and repositioned itself behind the Wasp, trying to support the Reavers' commander. Cold Iron pushed the hunchback forward, trying to keep the Dragon engaged. The Clint fired its autocannon and medium laser at the Wolverine while making its jump, and misses. Upon landing, the Clint managed to kick the Wolverine on the left leg. Bullet returned fire at the Clint. 6 SRM missiles hit the Clint on its right leg and torn into the left torso internals, blowing off the left torso. The blowout caused further damage to the mech's center torso. The AC-5 round drilled into the Clint's right arm, while the medium laser further damages the center torso. Bullet swung the Wolverine's left arm at the Clint, but misses. The Clint, now crippled, is forced to withdraw. The Dervish fired both LRM-10 at the Wolverine, with 5 missiles hitting the mech on the head and right arm. Bullet took a hard knock on his head from the impact, but manages to compose himself. Hammer Alpha strike the Dragon and everything hits. One of the missiles hit the Dragon on the head, while the other missile and medium laser struck the Dragon's left leg, damaging the internals, but nothing breaks. Hammer tried to punch the Dragon, but misses. The Dragon fired its AC-5 and medium laser at the hunchback. Only the AC-5 hits the hunchback's right leg. Cold Iron returned fire at the Dragon, hoping to take it down this turn. The AC-20 zoomed past the Dragon by inches as Cold Iron curses at the Dragon's good fortune. The medium lasers hit the Dragon's left torso and left leg into the internals, but the Dragon good luck prevented any further damages. The Locust, which sneaked up to the Wasp's rear, fired everything at the Wasp, but only the medium laser hits the Wasp's left leg, depleting all armor. The Locust skipped melee to avoid missing the strike. Raven took aim and fired both the PPC and LRM-10 at the Dragon, needing a stroke of luck to hit the Dragon past the woods. The PPC cracked through the gap in the woods, striking the Dragon on the right torso. The pilot again managed to keep the battered mech upright. It seems like nothing can bring down the heavy Dragon mech. Turn 5, initiative, Op 4. Raven kept the Griffin stationary, cooling off and steadying her next shot. The Clint, in withdrawal mode, jumped eastwards away from Crossing Alpha towards the eastern edge. Bullet pursued the Clint in the Wolverine. In a surprise move, the Dervish jumped onto the cliffs, attempting to bypass the hunchback towards crossing Bravo. To prevent mission failure, Hammer ran back to occupy the crossing zone Bravo. The Dragon ran southwards, again facing the stronger right flank towards the hunchback. Cold Iron shifted the hunchback's attention into the woods, moving behind the Dervish rear. The Locust repositioned to the hunchback rear. Cold Iron fired the AC-20 in both medium lasers at the Dervish rear, but only one medium laser hits. The laser struck into the Dervish right arm armored plating. The Clint fired the autocannon in medium laser at the Wolverine, with the medium laser hitting the Wolverine's center torso. The Clint skipped melee given it has lost its left arm. Bullet returned fire with the one medium laser in SRM-6, but misses the jumping Clint. He switched target and fired the AC-5 towards the Dervish, but misses too. Bullet lashed out a kick at the Clint, hitting the right leg into the internals, but nothing breaks. While in flight, the Dervish focused and fired both LRM-10 at Raven's Griffin, but misses. Raven fired the PPC at the Clint at close range, hitting its center torso and into the internals. However, nothing breaks. The Clint pilot managed to keep the mech upright after receiving shocks from the PPC and the Wolverine's kick. Raven then switched target and fired the LRM-10 indirectly at the Dragon, aided by Hammer spotting, with 8 missiles crashing into the Dragon's right leg and center torso. The Dragon, frantically trying to defend itself, fired its AC-5 LRM missiles and medium laser at the hunchback, but misses. Hammer skipped firing as she was spotting for Raven indirect fire earlier. The Locust fired at the hunchback's rear, with only one machine gun hitting the right arm. At the end of turn 5, the Blood Crow's hunchback, Wolverine, and Wasp were damaged. Bullet received a wound. The Dawn Reavers, Dragon, Dervish, and Clint were damaged. The Clint was in forced withdrawal, while the Dragon pilot received a wound. Turn 6. Initiative. Blood Crows. A bright red flare shot up from the depot, lighting the night skies. "Evacuation completed, and about time," radioed Hammer excitedly. "Primary objective achieved. Now it's time to earn that secondary payout bonus," replied Bullet. "The Blood Crows have held the Scout Lance long enough. Now they shifted their focus on hunting the command mech." Seeing the Clint withdrawing and its command unit being pinned down, the Dervish lost its cool and jumped westward to create distance from the hunchback. Raven continued to keep the Griffin stationary as she tries to cool the steaming mech. The Dragon stayed still, contemplating how it would explain the outcome of the failure. Seizing the opportunity, Cold Iron moved the hunchback forward towards the Dragon. The Locust moved towards the face of the cliffs and positioned itself onto the hunchback's right flank while protecting its rear from the Wolverine. Hammer ran in between Cold Iron's hunchback and the Locust and onto the Dragon's rear. The Clint continued its jump eastwards into the woods. Bullet shifted the Wolverine towards the Locust, looking for his next kill while covering the hunchback's rear. In desperate defense, the Dragon fired the AC-5 and medium laser at the hunchback, while firing its rear medium laser at Hammer Wasp. Only a medium laser hits the hunchback's center torso. Cold Iron returned fire, with the AC-20 tearing past the center torso armor and into the internals, damaging the gyro, while another medium laser struck the right leg. Again, the lucky pilot continued to keep the mech upright. "Whatever this pilot is praying to, it must be working," growled Cold Iron. The Locust, trying to support its commander, fired the medium laser at the hunchback and misses. Hammer fired onto the Dragon's rear, with the medium laser hitting the rear right torso and one SRM missile hitting the rear center torso. The heavy mech thick rear armor proved too much for the Wasp limited firepower. Hammer also let out a punch at the Dragon, but misses. The Clint let loose the AC-5 and medium laser at Bullet. The medium laser misses, but the AC-5 somehow managed to bypass the Wolverine's armor plating, striking the mech's right arm internals. Luckily, nothing breaks. Raven Alpha strike at the Clint in attempt to finish it off, building up excessive heat. Both PPC and 6 LRM missiles struck the Clint on the right and left legs' internals, as well as the coring through the mech's center torso. The Clint blew up and fell onto the ground, with a large portion of its body missing. The Dervish mustered its courage and fired both LRM-10 at the Hunchback, with only 3 missiles hitting the right arm and center torso. Bullet took aim at the Locust rear and Alpha strike it. 1 medium laser and 3 SRM missiles struck the Locust rear on the rear right torso, left leg and rear center torso into the internals, coring the mech. The Locust suffered the same fate as the Clint as it collapsed onto the ground in a heap of wreckage. By the end of turn 6, the Hunchback and Wolverine took additional damage. The Dragon also took damage while the Clint and Locust were destroyed, killing the pilots. Turn 7. Initiative Blood Crows. With the Clint and Locust destroyed, the Reaver's command and formation fractured. The Dragon attempted to retreat, running eastward. Hammer ran after the Dragon and positioned the Wasp on the Dragon's weakened left, attempting to cripple it. Noticing Hammer's intention, Bullet also shifted the Wolverine towards the Dragon's left to support Hammer. Raven stayed still as the Griffin is still cooling down. Seeing its commander in retreat and the sight of the burning wreckage from the fallen Clint and Locust, the Dervish jumped eastward, also in withdrawal mode. Meanwhile, Cold Iron ran the Hunchback in hot pursuit of the Dragon. The Dragon fired the AC-5, medium laser, and LRM-10 at the Wolverine while retreating, with only the AC-5 hitting the Wolverine's right leg. Hammer fired everything at the Dragon, with only the medium laser hitting the left torso. Hammer also gave the Dragon a punch but misses. Cold Iron also unloaded the AC-20 and both medium lasers at the Dragon's rear while chasing it. Only 1 medium laser struck the Dragon's right arm as the Dragon's amazing streak of good luck continues. With the Griffin still running hot, Raven fired only the LRM at the Dragon but misses. The Dervish fired both LRM-10 at the Wolverine and misses too. With the last chance to kill the Dragon fallen on Bullet's Wolverine, Bullet Alpha strike the Dragon left flank. The beam of medium laser, AC-5 round, and SRM missiles raced towards the Dragon and fell short. "There goes our bonus against Lady Luck," Cold Iron said sarcastically. At the end of turn 7, only the Wolverine and Dragon took additional damages. The Dragon successfully withdrew from the map, while the Dervish powered down and surrendered. The Blood Crows could only see the Dragon race beyond the eastern horizon. Against all odds, the Dragon managed to retreat as Lady Luck is with the command mech. Now they shift their focus onto the remaining Dervish mech. Encircled, abandoned by its commander, and with all exit routes cut, the Dervish lost the will to fight and powered down to signal its surrender. The Brackenridge corridor fell silent, but won't be for long as the Blood Crows know that the Reaver's main force are not far behind. "We did what we were paid for. Now let's get the hell out of here," ordered Raven. Mission debrief. Mission outcome. Mission success. Primary objective met. Crossing zones not captured. Secondary objective not met. Command unit not destroyed. Contract payout confirmed with no bonus. Turns taken 7. Mission kills 3 mechs. 25% salvage allocated. Post-battle summary report. Contract payout 120 war chest points. Salvage allocated capped at 25%. Salvage pool 1,150 war chest points. Salvage 287.5 war chest points allocated but not redeemed. Salvage liquidation at 50%, 143.76 war chest points credited. Total payout, 263.75 war chest points. Repair costs for 2 damaged mechs, 30 war chest points. Pilot's medical recovery, 3 days for fatigue. Cold Iron awarded 7 days for head injury. Medical recovery costs, 10 war chest points. Net payout, positive 223.75 war chest points. Fund transferred into Blood Crow's account. Experience gain per pilot, 3 XP gain for mission victory, 2 XP for kills. Blood Crow's reputation gained, nil, level maintained as proven. Reputation 6, rating 3 stars. Back at the Blood Crow's nest, Diana authorized immediate expansion of the Blood Crow's mech bay. The frontier was escalating. An additional mech of heavier chassis would be necessary to take on higher risk but better paying contracts. Meanwhile, Novatans made his way to the med bay for a quick scan for his bruised head. Down at the mech bay, Mech Tech Mick was busily patching up the hunchback. "How could the hunchback be so badly beaten up?" lamented Mick. "Thank you for your support and interest in the Blood Crows project. I hope you're enjoying the videos and the story-driven battle report format. You can help the community grow by subscribing to the channel and sharing the videos and stories from the Blood Crows campaign. Your support and engagement are the biggest motivation to keep this project moving forward. You're also welcome to join and support the Blood Crows Facebook community group, where more frequent and up-to-date battle reports are shared. Finally, your likes, comments, and suggestions are always appreciated and help shape future content. A Blood Crows production,